Introduction of data modeling. Data models define how the logical structure of a database is modeled. Fundamental entities to introduce abstraction in a DBMS. Data models define how data is connected to each other and how they are processed and stored inside the system. Next up is business rules. A business rule defines or constrains some aspect of business and always resolves to either true or false. Moreover, it is to control or influence the behavior of the business. It is also to describe the operations, definitions, and constraints that apply to an organization. Also can apply to people, processes, corporate behavior, and computing systems in an organization, and are put in place to help the organization achieve its goals. For example, a business rule might state that no credit check is to be performed on return customers. Other examples of business rules include requiring a rental agent to disallow a rental tenant if their credit rating is too low, or requiring company agents to use the list of preferred suppliers and supply schedules. Other than that, there is also source of business rules. Company managers, policy makers, department managers, written documentation, direct interviews with end users are all a source of business rules. Moreover, there are also types of data models: hierarchical models, network models, relational models, ERD model, object-oriented data model are all types of data models. Next up is the introduction of ERD, which is the entity relationship diagram. Is a data modeling technique that graphically illustrates an information systems, entities, and relationships between those entities. It is a conceptual and represented model of data used to represent the entity framework infrastructure. The elements of an ERD are entities, a real-world item or concept that exists on its own. Relationships is the association that describes the interaction between entities. Attributes, an attribute of an entity is particular property that describes the entity. Next is the steps involved in creating an ERD include identifying and defining the entities, determining all interactions between the entities, analyzing the nature of interactions, lastly but not least, creating the ERD. These are the examples of one-to-one crossfoot and change notation. Next up is the one-to-many crossfoot and change notation. And for the finale, it's the many-to-many crossfoot and change notation.